Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. And most importantly, welcome to episode 200 of Good Morning Adventurers. I have sat down here. This is the 200th time that I have sat down in front of you and talked about Dungeons and Dragons of some sort in the morning time. Season 4, we made it this far. Obviously, we're still in the middle of Season 4, but episode 200, that's crazy. Thank you guys so much for following along with me on this. It has been such a pleasure to get to do this, and I'm looking forward to getting to continue to do it in the ever growing, however slowly or quickly, community that we are building here. So thank you guys so very much for all of your support. But let's do the thing we usually do at the show. First up, T&D today. We have the mug. Again, stat black of a mug. Feels appropriate for the thing we're talking about today. And inside of it, I threw away the box because I am a genius and I used the last one and I didn't think about it, but pretend I have it here because you guys have seen it on the show before. Tension Tamer by Celestial Seasonings. Really, really great tea. I honestly have it like all day long if I feel like I want it or I need it in whatever way. It's one of my go-tos. It's really, really good. But that is not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about today is something that honestly could not be more perfect for episode 200. It is Thursday, which means we have a third-party Thursday today. And not only do we have a third-party Thursday, I just got, not that long ago, one of the books I've been most excited about for a third-party Thursday. We got the Tome of Beasts 3 from Kobold Press. That is right. Kobold Press, third of their set, probably sixth or seventh of their book that I have talked about on this show. This thing is chock full of incredible things, as the other Tomes of Beast have been as well. I am so excited to get to chat about this one. As ever with this sort of book, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to crack it open. We're going to take a look at some of them that sort of run the gamut of all the different types that you might be running into in this here book. Now, first up, it is worth noting that it is a little bit skinnier than most of the other, and by most of the other, I mean than the other two Tome of Beasts. That does not mean it does not pack a serious punch in it. It just means that when you get it, you might go, huh, that doesn't have quite as many pages as I thought. Now, don't get me wrong. That is not to knock it in any way. It still has, let's see here, 400 pages. The other ones, I believe, just have like 500 pages. So don't worry, you're still getting plenty of content with this guy. And honestly, it's so good. It's so much fun. Like, we're going to talk about 7 different monsters here today, but this thing is phenomenal. And I'm going to tell you right now, I recommend it so highly. You have to go check this out if you are into the third-party books. But let's crack it open because I've been talking for too long here already. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at our first one. First things first, this one is just one that I thought was kind of funky and a little bit funny because, you know, what they do really well in this book and so many of these books is fill a lot of those weird little niches that Wizards does not actually fill. And so when I opened this up and I saw that there was a crab section, there are 3 crab monsters in here, I thought it was hysterical. Not to mention the fact that they are all not tiny creatures. We have a large one and we have 2 mediums, which means we have one that is on par with the size of a horse, and 2 are on par that are on par with the size of a medium to large sized dog. So first up in the crabs, we have the duffel crab. That is a hermit crab that uses a giant back of holding instead of a shell. It is a CR3 monster. There's nothing overly special about it except for the fact that it can like just stuff in its back because that's fun. The other 2 are the razorback crab and the samurai crab. Now these things, these are the 2 mediums. This one over here, the razorback crab, is a CR2 and the samurai crab is a CR6. As you might guess, the samurai crab actually fights with swords, and the razorback crab literally throws itself at things, and it's just fun. It's just a lot of fun. It's very interesting. Now we have a long list to get through here, but it wouldn't be a show with me on it if I didn't take a pit stop with the dragons. This one only has 2 dragons in it, whereas I believe most of their other ones have had several in there. But honestly, these 2 dragons are something special, man. First off, we have the prismatic dragon. It lives underground in cave systems, and it is, oh man, it can't fly because it lives in cave systems, but it is beautiful. It's so pretty. It has Light Breath and Rainbow Blast as its breath weapons. It can cast spells. It has some really, really interesting effects that it can create within its layer, and it is just absolutely beautiful. It is a CR 21. Honestly, the lack of flight really does cut that down, because it is one of the things about dragons. Their mobility is really fantastic, and so not being able to fly does actually make it a slightly less threatening thing. However, it is still very, very good. It's really cool. It has some really cool regional effects as well, like spells that are based on light and color are amplified in different ways. So it's a phenomenal creature that they have designed with that one. Now we have the other one here, the opposite of that pretty much, the Sand Dragon. This one does have a fly speed, and it is more or less devoid of color. Its regional effects are things like dehydrate, create more, or prolific vermin, so create more vermin. The breath weapon on this thing is a Sand Blast, or a Blinding Sand, which is just cool. And it just, it's so cool, because it actually will fit in like a desert landscape. And that is something that, honestly, we haven't super had. The dragons all around, the only ones that blend into their surroundings that they are written for are, quite frankly, the white and silver dragons. And that includes all of the other ones that we've gotten so far in official material. So something that actually has a camouflage like ability is a really, really interesting thing for me, and I think is really cool. This one is a CR 23. It gets that bump from the whole, being able to fly thing. But this one also, very interestingly, has a very, very, very good perception. Presumably because one of the things that it can do as a legendary action, etc., is detect things, and you kind of have to be able to see really well in order to pick things out of a totally barren desert landscape. It has a passive perception of 31 because its perception is 21. Kicking forward from there, leaving my sweet baby boys behind, getting up to something else I was just so excited about. Something that Kobold Press does really well that I think that Wizards really needs to step up the game on is they actually utilize some of the underserved creature types that they have produced. And they're not always fantastic, but they do actually do things with them. One of those that I think needs to have more things added to it is the plant creature type. They do not use plants enough in the official materials. So the fact that this one has a whole section on fungi, and we're talking, what here? 4 or 5 different fungi? They're just like little mushroom guys, or, jellyfish mushrooms, or literal mushroom men. I'm so glad that they're actually using these. None of them are high CR necessarily, but they are cool. And throughout the book, there are other plant monsters as well that are actually viable. They are actually things that you look at and you go, wow, that could be cool to actually put into a game. And so the fact that they're adding these even just low level plant monsters makes me so happy, because things like oozes and plants, and quite honestly beasts at higher CRs, they are just not utilized in the official materials. And so having third-party books that will actually put that work in, so you don't have to just go ahead and homebrew everything, makes me really happy. I like it a lot. Okay, let's get moving forward to the next thing here. This next thing, I was blown away when I saw it. This next thing, they took a really, really interesting stand with it. Its stat block is over a full page long. It is the Godslayer. Take a quick little gander here if you are watching as opposed to listening. This thing here is the Godslayer. It is a CR 30. Yeah. CR 30. And it is balanced to actually be able to be used. But the amount of things that it can do is absolutely bonkers to me. So the one full page of its stat block is just its actions and features. That, don't get me wrong, that is features, actions, bonus actions, reactions, and legendary actions, but still, that is a full 2-column page of text. The other side is flavor text, art, and the like statistical part of it, but this thing is absolutely nuts. So we have an armor class of 24, natural armor, can't be messed with. It is a construct, huge, 580 hit points, 50-foot fly speed, or 50 feet speed, 60-foot fly speed, swim speed of 60 feet. The lowest stat it has is dexterity at 14, but it does have a 30 in strength and a 30 in wisdom. Saving throws, con plus 17, intelligence plus 12, wisdom plus 19, charisma plus 11. Resistant to acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder. Immune to necrotic, poison, psychic, radiant. BPS from non-magical attacks not made with adamantine. Immune to charm, exhausted, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, poison, prone. True sight out to 120 feet. Passive perception 29. Understands all languages we can't speak. And then it's a construct, doesn't require air. It is built to destroy gods, so it can actually just sense celestials and deific beings within a certain radius of it. 3 legendary resistances, advantage on all saving throws against spells and magic effects, double damage to structures and objects, and then its actions. Energy glaive, 48 damage. Rune Discus, 41 damage. Plus, Wisdom saving throw or magic effects are suppressed on the target. Arcane Lexicon, which allows you to use Death Glyph, Glyph of Despair, Glyph of Pain, Glyph of Summoning, Retributive Glyph, Stupefying Glyph. Bonus action, Hunting Step, reaction, Parry Spell, which allows you to parry a spell of 8th level or lower that targets only it. It's so good. And then several legendary actions. There is a bottom footnote bar specifically for how to use this in your game because, quite frankly, you need it. You have to be able to have it if you're going to try and put this thing in the game because it is crazy. Like, the other CR30s that we have in official material, in unofficial material, they do not do the variety of things that this thing does. This is really, really, really well designed and really, really fascinating. I cannot recommend studying this stat block if you are interested in playing a high-level game. It is so, so interesting. The only thing it doesn't have is a mythic rebirth, if that's what you want to call it. The thing where they hit 0 hit points, they jump immediately to a new set of hit points, and they gain other legendary actions. That's the only thing that is missing out of this, really. Because honestly, even the glyphs are like a breath weapon that never has to be recharged kind of thing. Okay, moving forward from that, honestly, it's not that it's just downhill from there, but that is the top of the top in this book in my mind. It is so beyond cool, and I'm saying that as somebody who absolutely adores the dragons that have been presented here. This one I really just wanted to show you guys because I think the art is impeccable on it. This here is the living soot. This thing is so cool. The art on it makes it look like it is made of spider webs, but it is like soot. It's not like a symbiote thing, like practically, but it looks like a symbiote kind of thing. But it does have engulfing sandstorm, which allows you to like occupy the same space as a creature. It is an elemental. It's like a whelm kind of ability, and it's really pretty and it's really cool. But again, there's nothing overly special about it as a monster necessarily, other than the fact that Kobold Press creates really, really interesting monsters in their own right, so it is worth taking a look at. This one, the next one here, is one that I was flipping past and I went, ooh, what is that? This one also has a multi-page stat block. We are at 2 again. It is, however, only a CR21 only. But this is the Primordial Matriarch. So this one, it's 2 pages because it has flavor text, layer, actions, regional effects, as well as stats, and some of its stuff, some of its mechanical stuff on one page, and the other side is some features, actions, reactions, and the art for it. So this thing, really, really interesting because it is elementally based. It has some amazing, really interesting regional and layer effects and actions, they're so cool. And then it's again the versatility of this thing, kind of like the Godslayer, but not to the same extent, that just make it something that you want to actually use, because it is fascinating to look at. Like, so many of the 5th edition official things are like straightforward, and this is how you use it, and there's a little bit of creative freedom in there, but like for the most part, if you use it as written, there's not a whole lot of like versatility. So much in this book feels versatile to me, and that is one of the reasons I like it so very much. And then I promise that I didn't pick this one because it is basically the last monster in the book, even though you will notice that it does start with a Z. This is a Zilak, Z-I-L-A-Q, and it is actually a section, or it is one that I think should have been in the dragon section. That's what I'm trying to say. There is a whole like Drake section associated with the dragons. There's just the 2 like actual dragons, but then there's a bunch of Drakes that go with it, which is also obviously very cool. But this one is, for some reason, all the way down here on its own, because it is not a proper dragon or a proper Drake. However, it is a dragon creature type. This is a tiny dragon, and it's so cute because its horde is books. And it's a 2-headed dragon. One of them likes to just talk all the time, and the other one likes to just read all the time. That's adorable. This thing is a CR4. It's brilliant. It's got an eidetic memory, which is super fun. And it... You know, it's got a couple of like very specialized things that are really cool. It's got Sonic Yelp, which is its like kind of like breath weapon-y kind of thing. Enthralling speech and phantasmal oratory, which are all very interesting things. But mostly, it's just kind of fun. It's a neutral dragon. You can put them in the libraries that you have. Like they're so cool. The amount of things in this book that I think are just so worth reading about, so worth taking a look at. As the back here says, a flock of over 400 ferocious monsters. It is so worth getting these books and cracking them open if you are a dungeon master who's trying to expand your repertoire. Because again, as I've said in many other episodes, Kobold Press's things, all of their almost all of their monster creations, I'm sure there are several that are not quite that way, but it seems like most of them are balanced correctly for CR ratings. Whereas a lot of the 5th edition stuff is actually underbalanced in that they are slightly weaker than the CRs they're actually assigned. These are assigned the appropriate CRs most of the time, and it is so cool because you get to throw things at your players that are genuinely challenging for their level, as opposed to the things that are supposed to be hard being kind of medium, and things that are supposed to be medium being very easy, and then the things that are easy being full sweeps for your team. So check this book out, because honestly, it's so good. I like it so much. Yeah, check it out. Kobold Press, they do amazing work. So that's all of that I have to talk to you guys about. Let's go ahead and talk about the shows that we have today. In no particular order on this here Thursday, we have Critical Role, Authors and Dragons, NADPOD, and LGBT D&D. Check them out. Let them know that I sent you, because again, someday somebody is going to say something to me about it, and I'm going to think that it's funny, but until then, I'm going to keep asking you all to do it. But that brings me to the end of what I have to talk to you guys about today. Thank you guys so much for 200 fantastic episodes. Genuinely didn't know that I'd be here. Obviously, like, I'm just kind of doing it, and we're seeing what happens, but like the support and feedback I get from you guys means so much to me. So thank you so very much. But let's go ahead. Let's start rolling the end here. Thank you guys so very much for making me part of your morning routine. I really do appreciate it. And I actually... one more final kind of announcement thing here. I am actually going to be putting my Patreon on indefinite hiatus. I feel like I haven't been able to serve it particularly well. I haven't been charging my patrons for several months now because I haven't been able to actually produce that content. And I want to like refocus in on this, especially because I have something else that I'm working on. It's not actually D&D related at all, but I'll still talk about it a little bit on the show when it does come up. But I'm going to be putting Patreon on hiatus. Thank you so much for everybody that has been supporting it, actively engaging with it. I appreciate that so very much. But instead, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to support or thank from here on until maybe eventually I reactivate it. Thank you so much to my subscribers. You guys are the ones that make this show possible. If you're interested in subscribing and supporting the show in that way, find the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, it's usually down below. If you are listening to me via podcast, it is wherever you get your podcasts, really. So yeah, go ahead and check it out. But that is everything that I have to talk to you guys about today. So once again, thank you guys so much for a fantastic 200 episodes. And don't forget, everybody, drink tea, play D&D, and keep on rolling.